Hi, in this tutorial we're going to look at a data pre-processing technique for machine learning called splitting your data. That is, splitting your data set into a training set and a testing set. Now, before we get to the code, you might wonder, why do I need to do this? And really, there are going to be two problems if you don't. So if you train your machine learning model on your whole data set, then you've not tested the model on anything else, and that means you don't know how well your model is going to perform on other data sets. Secondly, it's actually even worse than this because you risk overfitting the model, and that means that you've made your model work really well for one data set, but that gives a cost of model performance on other data sets. So not only do you not know how well the model is going to perform on other data sets, it's probably going to be worse than it could be. So you might also wonder when in your machine learning workflow, sort of as you're writing these different steps of code, when does this come? So what's the point when you need to split your data set? And it's normally the last thing you do before feature engineering. So if you do this after feature engineering, then you risk having a problem called data leakage, and that means information from the testing set is going to be available in the training set, which is a sort of form of cheating because it's going to make your model appear to perform better than it actually does. So it's giving you a sort of false sense of security. So if you find yourself doing feature engineering and you've not yet split your data into training and testing sets, then you need to just back up a step. Now, we're going to take a look at some loan application data. So I'm using Datacamp Workspace here, and this is one of the data sets that is available as standard with Datacamp Workspace. So there is a workspace template available if you want to try doing your own analysis on this data set. So because this data is in CSV format, I'm going to import the pandas package as PD. That's the sort of standard alias for it. And then we need just one function from scikit-learn. So this is in the scikit-learn model selection submodule, and the function for splitting into training and testing sets is called train test split. So let's run that. All right, so this data is about loan applications. So I'm just going to call it loan applications. And we can use pd.read CSV because it is in a CSV file, and the file is called loan_data.csv. Let me just check and see if I got that correct. Loan_data.csv. Yes, it did. Okay, so let me just copy and paste this variable name so we can print out the results. Okay, so here you can see the table here. Actually, to make this easier, we've got 9,500 rows here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to import the first 1,000 rows, and this is going to make some of the results a bit easier to understand. All right, so now we've only got 1,000 rows of data. You can see we've got this column called credit policy. This is going to be our response variable, and then we've got a load of other variables we can use as features. This purpose column, because it's a categorical column, that's going to become important how we deal with that in a moment. All right, so first of all, we'll just concentrate on the response. So the response variable is called credit.policy. And so because each row is an application, so when that application meets the underwriting policy, so it meets the kind of loan criteria, it takes the value 1, and it's a 0 if the application was not up to scratch. So I'm going to call this variable response. Some people like to call the response variable just lowercase y. I think response is a bit more meaningful, particularly in this case. So we're going to start off with the loan applications data frame, and we're going to take the credit policy column, and then I'm just going to copy and paste this variable name again so you can see the results. So in this case, it is a pandas series, and you can see it's got 1s and 0s. All right, so we're going to use all the other columns for features. So again, let's call this variable features. Some people like to use capital X for this. So again, I'm going to start with loan applications with a T somewhere in there, and we use every column except credit policy. So this drop method is a little shortcut for just like saying I want everything in the data frame except a specific set of columns. Now, one extra little trick. So as I mentioned, we have this categorical variable called purpose. So we need to do one hot encoding on this in order to turn it into a series of numeric columns with zeros and ones. So we can use pd.get dummies for that. Put this code on the line so it's easy to see how it breaks down. And then we're going to print this out. So far this is pretty standard code just for splitting your data set into a response variable and some features. So here we've got I think, about 19 columns now. So the one important thing to note is that purpose column is now several different columns with ones and zeros. All right, so now the crux of this. So we're going to split these the response and the features up into training sets and testing sets. So we're going to call the train test split function and pass those two variables in. So we're going to call train test split. I'm going to pass it the response first and then the features. So let's run this and you can see the output. It's a little bit squiffy. So what we get is a list, and it actually has 4 different things in it. So we can get the responses and the features for the training set and the responses and features for the testing set. And actually the trick is just remembering which order they're returned in. So rather than returning a list, it's slightly easier if we use variable unpacking and we return 4 different objects together. So we're going to return 4 things from this one function call. So I'm going to call this response train. I think this one was response test, and then we go features train and features test. So we've got 4 different variables here, and let me run that. So I can sort of print these out one at a time, but it's not that exciting because you've seen the whole data set before. It's just bits of it. So what's actually pasted twice. So what's actually slightly more useful is if we take a look at the shape of each of these, and you can see how much data has ended up in each one. So I'm going to print this out, and we're going to do the same with the test set and features. Features test. All right, so we've got 4 different variables here. Now you can see we start off with 1,000 rows, and so the responses, these are series, so they don't have any columns, but you can see that 75% of them, so 750 out of 1,000 have ended up in the training set, and 250, let me just highlight that, have ended up in the testing set. And it's the same with the features as well. So we've got 750 in the training set and 250 in the test set. You've got 19 columns here because 19 features. So by default, 75% of our data is ended up in the training set, 25% is ended up in the testing set. And normally this is like perfectly fine. Sometimes if you have like a small data set, you might want a little bit more in the training set and a little bit less in the testing set. And if you've got a very large data set, then you might say, well, okay, I want 70% of data in the training set and 30% in the testing set. So in this case, because we've only got 1,000 rows, let's shrink the testing set a little bit. So we're going to do the same again, but we're going to use the test size argument to get a smaller testing set. So I'm just going to copy and paste this code rather than typing again. So to change here, we're going to add an additional argument called test size. I'm going to set that to 0.2. So we're going to have 80% in the training set, 20% in the test set. Let's run that. And again, I am going to copy and paste this code that shows the shapes of the output And here you can see now we've got 800 of 1,000 rows in the training set, 200 in the testing set. Now, one more thing you might be interested in doing is reproducing the values that are provided in both the training and testing sets. What I mean by that is that by default, the training and testing sets are randomly generated. So each of the rows from the data set is randomly allocated to one or other of these sets. If you're writing a report, you might want to have your results exactly the same every time. Another case where this is useful is if you're trying to find a problem with your model, then you might want to be able to demonstrate the problem precisely to someone else. So sometimes you want your code to be exactly reproducible despite the fact that you've got random things in it. And for this work, you need to set a random seed, and you can use the random state argument to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this code twice, but we're going to set the random state argument to, you can pick any number you like. I'm just going to pick 999. And so because we set the random state, this code's going to run the same thing twice. Let me give different variable names for what's being returned here. So we're going to run this. So we've done the split twice. And so let's have a look at one of these. So if we have a look at features train, you can see the values. We've got row 46, row 748, and so on. And then let's add another one of these. So we're going to look at features train 2. And you see, even though it's random, we have exactly the same results. So it's row 46, row 748, row 524, and so on. So exactly the same result in both cases. And that's more or less all there is to splitting your data into training and testing sets. I hope it's been helpful.